Okay. So we will get started because I know everybody's time is valuable. And I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit about what the course is and a preview of it. And then I'm going to ask some questions. And if you feel like, because I cannot see you, and if you feel like answering, I'm not going to unmute you. You just answer if you want to. And if nobody answers, then I'll keep going. And then at the end, I'll open up for more questions. So we are going to get started. So this course is going to be called Rise Up to Your Potential. And the point of it is to either help you reach that elusive goal. So if there's some kind of goal that you've been trying to reach, it's for that. It's for if you feel like you're stuck and you keep doing the same thing over and over, or if you just want to kind of become unstoppable and kind of reach to your potential. So everybody's going to be starting at a different place and a different goal. Obviously, my forte, what I teach is health and fitness. So a lot of it will be geared towards health and fitness, but you can very easily apply this to your business, your relationships, or just your life in general. So like if you're somebody, and it kind of can go for both. Like for me, I originally did it because I felt kind of stuck in business, and not so much stuck as in like, I need to get more clients or that anything like that, but more stuck in that, like I was anxious all the time and I was worried all the time. And I kept thinking, and you can probably relate this to maybe to your health and fitness. I kept thinking, I kept program hopping. Well, maybe this is the right way. Maybe this is the right way. And giving up on strategies I was trying because things weren't happening fast enough. So it can truly be applied to anything. Any questions so far? Okay. Next screen. Why is it not? Okay, I don't know why it's not moving. Okay, now I go too far. Sorry about that. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is a quote. When you become the master of your mind, you master everything. And so again, this is a guide to move you from stuck to unstoppable. And I want you to stop and think about like what I'm saying, this quote: when you become the master of your mind, you master everything. And the first thing that you really need to truly think of is, do you believe that? Because in order to really get the most out of this course, you have to believe that you actually that you can control your mind. And if you master your mind, you master your life. And it's not so much about, okay, I'm letting somebody in real quick. It's not so much about, okay. Sorry, letting other people in. And how do you try to master your mind? What have you tried in the past? And I would love to hear some of you give me some ideas of how you've tried in the past to master your mind, whether it be by setting goals, trying harder, reading books, searching the internet. Maybe it's positive affirmations. Maybe it's a gratitude journal. Maybe it's prayer. So if anybody would like to share right now what they've tried in the past to kind of quote unquote master your mind or change things for yourself.
I've read lots of books.
Okay.
Lots of self-help books.
Okay, good. Yeah, me too. I mean, I think there for a while I was like going from book to book to book to book to podcast, like every morning reading something else. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share? I thought someone was going to share. Okay, then I'm going to move on to the next one. Let's see. Okay, so this is so interesting to me, and this is science. You have 20 to 80,000 thoughts per day. I mean, think about that. 20 to 80,000 thoughts per day, and 95% of them are unconscious, meaning you are not aware of 95% of them. So that's a ton of thoughts that you're not even aware that come through your mind. And 70% of them are typically negative. So if you think about that, and 70% of things that you don't even know going through your mind are negative, you can only imagine what outcomes you get from that. Anybody have a comment on that, or does this surprise anybody, or everybody good? Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna read the left side first. So our actions and habits are the end result of the unconscious mind that we might go a lifetime without seeing or sensing or being aware of. So think about that. If basically, if 75%, if you're not aware of your thoughts, and there's 20 to 80,000 going through your mind, and you're not aware of approximately, I think we said 95% of them, you're not even aware that that's what's creating your actions, which then creates your habits, which then creates the result of your life. It's so unconscious. So it kind of explains our self-sabotaging behaviors. And if you think about this, I'm going to take it from health and fitness. So you can Google anything and you know that an apple is better than a cookie. You know that you should be exercising. You know how to lose weight. Like, even if you did it like in a way that like was keto, which you know how I feel about that, or a low carb diet or a low calorie diet, we all know how to do it, and yet we don't do it, which explains because there's unconscious thoughts going through our mind that we are not aware of that is causing us to choose the cookie instead of the apple, or to choose to be stressed about something that we have zero control over, or to choose to overthink something over and over and over again. Or when you wake up in the morning and you say, I'm going to be patient with, whomever, a partner, a child, whatever it is that you lose your patience with, and over you keep doing the same thing. It's not because you don't want to, right? We all know we want to do the right thing. We just don't always do it. And, if you go back to this, it's because we're not aware of 95% of our thoughts. Any questions on so far, or any comments? Okay, so let's talk about why. Why does this happen? And we're going to talk about the unconscious mind. So our unconscious mind is influenced by cultural, societal, and environmental influences that we're not aware of, the perceptions we carry, the belief system we then accept, and then leads to the expectations we hold. So for example, if you perceive yourself as overweight, unmotivated, and lacking control, you accept that as your belief and you expect it to happen, and therefore it does. So let's talk a little bit about the influences we incur. They can be cultural, societal, or environmental. Okay, so when we talk about cultural, we're talking about, it could be religions, it could be cultural by the way you were raised. I don't know why I'm doing that funky noise. So think about, then societal. Think about what the expectations we've had for women in the past compared to now, and the differences of the jobs and the profession women had in the past and they now have. Or you can take it to race. Lots of just societal influences. Think about something as crazy as New Year's Day. Why is it New Year's Day that everybody decides that it's going to be this New Year's resolution? There's no magic to New Year's Day, but culturally and societally, we've been influenced to think of that. When you think about society, for those of you that were raised in the 80s, we saw skinny models. So we all tried to be skinny, which led to eating disorders and all kinds of expectations. And now, if you look at it, the bigger butt is what everybody's showing. So now everybody's wanting a bigger butt, which, again, it's societal. There's nothing that's more healthy about or better or more aesthetically pleasing, but we're influenced by those things. And then think about your environment, like how you were raised. Were you raised thinking, you're a chubby kid, you're always going to be chubby? Were you told, you're smart and we know you're going to, do well in school? Or did you have the feeling that, my brother or my sister is better than me at this and therefore I'm not as good? So all the messages that we get, culturally, societal, environmental, then they become our perceptions. And think about perceptions, like who you perceive you are, what you perceive your opportunities are in life. Think about a child that's born into wealth versus a child that's born into poverty. What opportunities do they perceive they actually have? And that goes for you as well. Like what capacity do you actually think you have? And then those all become our belief system, which then becomes our expectations. And then those expectations lead to kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So this leads me to the you that you think you know is not a real example of who you really are. Okay. It's the unconscious flow you have had to date. So the you perceive yourself to be might not be the real you. And people see you and how people perceive you might not be the real you, but it's all a perception influenced by cultural, society, and environmental. Any questions so far? Is this making sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so in order to get the results you want, you have to change the beliefs. And remember, your beliefs are influenced by your culture, society, environment, your perceptions. They're going to influence your behaviors, which are then going to influence your results. And if you think about perception, if you look at the world, you perceive it as flat, right? But we all know it's not flat, but that's what we perceive it to be. And if you think about it, like you think the ground, like if you stand here, you think the ground is stationary. It's not stationary. We know that it rotates and it moves. And we think objects are solid when really all objects are not solid. And yet we hear propaganda and we believe it's true. So all this to say that your perceptions and your beliefs aren't necessarily true. And yet they influence our behaviors and influence our results. So think about this. And I've used this example before. We all know that if you tell a kid, you're not very smart, you're not as smart as your sister, you probably won't go to college and that's okay. Maybe you should pick a trade school or, whatever. That kid is going to have a self-fulfilling prophecy. So why would we be any different? So let's take fitness and nutrition and kind of weight loss goals as an example. If you continually tell yourself, I always fail, I never get this right, I grew up fat and overweight, I'm always going to be overweight, why would that not be the same for you? Okay. And then the other thing I want to talk about is here's why trying hard and positive affirmation and all those things don't really work either. I remember this term from I don't know if it was from teaching or from college, but cognitive dissonance. So, you can pep talk your way into saying, I'm going to tell myself I'm a patient person, I'm good at business, I'm going to do all these things. But if you don't truly believe those things, you have what's called cognitive dissonance, and your unconscious mind is going to say, that's not true. I don't believe that. And that's why you have to get to the unconscious and kind of work from there. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about my experience with, sorry, skipped a thing. So where do we go from here? So this is not the steps, but these are the 4 things you need in order to move forward. Okay, you need acceptance. And these are actually the 4 things that I need people to buy into in order to do this program. Because if you don't buy into this, then there's no reason for you to do it. So you have to accept that your life is truly just a perception and that it's not necessarily true. And that your influences, whether they're cultural, social, environmental, have influenced your perceptions, which have influenced your beliefs, but they're not necessarily true. So that's the first thing. You have to accept it. Number 2, you have to start becoming and being willing to become aware, which means can you start becoming aware of your perceptions? So here's some examples of being aware. You know that you're a people pleaser. You know that you're an overreactor, or maybe you are an impatient person, or maybe you tell yourself, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm not as smart, this is too hard. So being willing to become aware of those stories, because that's what they are, they're not truths that you're telling yourself. Okay. And then the third thing is that you have to be willing to be accountable, which means that you realize that you and only you are responsible for your perceptions, your beliefs, and ultimately your results. And you hold yourself accountable that, it may not be your fault what you've been told, but ultimately it is your responsibility to change it. So that's not to take the pain away if you've been abused or verbally abused, physically abused, or you're a victim of, or you've been affected negatively by racism. That's not to say that it's your fault. But let's say you grew up with parents that told you you're fat, or you grew up with parents that said you're not very smart, or whatever it may be. You're not responsible for that. And yes, it is painful, but in order to overcome that, you have to take accountability that you are the only one that can take responsibility and change it. And then the 4th step is adaptation, meaning, are you willing to take the steps to change it? Are you willing to adapt and implement the steps I'm going to teach you? Any questions so far? Okay.
No.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience with this actual 4-step process that I'm going to be teaching. So as many as you know, I've always been, I've shared very honestly about my eating disorder and the issues I've had with food. And I truly, truly believe that I have overcome that. But if you know anything about eating disorders, you know it was never about the food. It was about something deeper inside of me, and perfectionism and worthiness and not feeling good enough. So even though I feel like I've recovered and actually advanced and feel pretty successful about overcoming my eating issues and my fitness and all that kind of stuff, got that in place, I'm still a stressful person. I'm still filled with anxiety. I still felt way too busy, not enough time, impatient, and doubtful. I just took those things and they became part of my business story. So for those of you that didn't know, prior to COVID, I was an in-person trainer and I loved it. And it was great. Then COVID came and I decided, okay, let's pivot and let's do something online, which I've absolutely loved. And I've loved creating courses. And I love doing both of them. But in realizing, okay, I want to create a business, it's brought up a lot of these negative things, meaning, stressed, anxious, feeling like I not have enough time, being impatient with myself and thinking, just forget it. You're really not that good at this and nobody cares what you have to say. So shut up and sit down, basically. Not that I feel like that all the time, but I have struggled with that. So I've had different coaches and all of them have talked about mindset. And I've always been like, heck yeah. Like, I agree 100%. I accept that, like, my mindset is screwed up, and I'm aware of it, and I'm taking accountability for it. And I searched and searched and searched and read a million books. And, tried the self-help, tried the affirmations, tried the gratitude, tried the prayer, all of that. And I just couldn't figure it out. And that's when I was introduced to the 4-step process that I want to teach. I literally started it, the certification, and really diving into it on October 16th. That is literally a month ago, 4 weeks ago. And I can honestly say that I already feel peaceful. I no longer, like, I used to literally wake up anxious and not know why, with a pit in my stomach, thinking like, okay, just calm down, listen to a podcast. It'll take your mind off everything. I don't have that anymore. I'm not worried about where my business goes because I'm more focused on the process. Did that go away for everybody? Did I lose everybody?
No, I'm here.
We're here.
No, we're here.
But the
Okay.
screen went away.
The screen went away. Okay, sorry about that. See, it's because I have 5,000 things open, which Sydney tells me all the time. That's my older one. Okay, let me go back to this. I think we were here, actually here. So y'all get to see all the tabs I have open, which is similar to my brain. Okay, come on. Sorry about that, but I'll keep talking while I get this up. And so I literally feel way more patient. I'm less triggered in everything. As crazy as that sounded, like I would get, okay, hang on. Really apologize for this. But normally, honestly, I would like be so embarrassed about this, and I'm not. And I would have been triggered in the past. Okay. And it's truly working for me. And it's literally a 4-step, simple, science-based process. And I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'm not going to go into great detail, not because I wouldn't share it with you, but because there's more to it than this. But it's literally counting your wins, being aware of your language, meaning what do you say to yourself inside? What do you say to other people about yourself? How do you feel? How do you wake up? Like, what do you live in? Do you live in a constant state of fear, a constant state of anxiety? Do you live in a constant state of stress? That's one of your languages. So you're going to learn that. And then you are going to learn to imagine your outcome. And you're going to learn to review your days, review the process. Okay, so here's a little bit about the logistics of it. There will be a membership site. So if you participated in any of my programs already, Nutrition Challenge, any of it, it's that same membership site. There will be videos and printable PDFs. The difference this time is the videos are going to be created by us because I really want to be able to do the teaching, meaning I don't want to just, it needs to be question and answer and me asking questions and me saying, okay, give me an example, because the more we can talk about it and everybody can share, the more other people are going to learn from it. But there will be printable PDFs to go with all the PowerPoints. So if you're like me and you like to write everything down, I will have that for you. And then you're going to have some weekly homework assignments, which again will be printable PDFs. There'll be a private Facebook group. And in that private Facebook group, I'm going to expect everybody to turn in their assignments. Now, if you are like I don't want that to keep you from doing this. So if you're somebody that you're not ready to be vulnerable and you're not ready to share, that's fine. I'm going to expect you to private message me through Facebook Messenger and turn in your homework. So there's going to be high accountability to this group, because if you don't, if I don't hold you accountable and you don't do the work, it's not going to work. But if you literally do the work, and it's simple work, sometimes it can be frustrating. And sometimes you can think this is not working because there's, we all do that and everything, but I'm going to hold you accountable to doing the work. And then I'm going to have expectations that you do the work. And I'm also going to have expectations that eventually, like A, that you do share, and B, if you're not willing to share at the beginning, I'm going to expect you to eventually share, because if you're not willing to share, that's kind of one of those negative narratives that you're telling yourself. And it might be, oh my gosh, if I say this, people are going to think I'm stupid. And we're going to get past the people are going to think I'm stupid. Okay. And then here's the rest. There's going to be weekly Zoom meetings. As of now, I think they're going to be Friday at 1. If that stresses you out and you're like, I cannot make every Friday at 1, that does not mean this is not for you. Because you will get all the recordings. Now, if you can't commit to watching the recordings and doing the work, then it's not for you. But if you can't do the Zoom meetings, number one, if you know me well, you know that like, if there's a need to do another Zoom meeting at another time and I can do it, I'm going to do it. Because I want more than anything for this to work for people. But with that being said, I did this entire program without somebody holding my hand. Not that you need hand holding, but I did the entire program through recorded calls, which are great, but I really want some back and forth between people so that I know if you're understanding it, and I know that like if we share, other people are going to get something out of it. The other thing is it's going to start Friday, December 3rd. I would have started it next Friday, but I don't think I can. I think that's too hard with it being the Friday after Thanksgiving. It's going to be a minimum of 6 weeks. If it's going great and we need more time and everybody's participating, again, you kind of know me if you've been in the nutrition challenge or you just work with me. If it's going well, I have no problem with saying, let's go, let's keep going. I'm only taking 15 group members. And the reason I'm only taking 15 is because if there's going to be accountability and there's going to be, the use of that Facebook group, I don't like, if there's too many people, it's too hard. So I'm only going to take 15 people this time. If it goes well and I feel like I could take more next time, then I might, but I think 15 is going to be my max. It's going to be $99. Let me go back here. Okay. Any questions on this side? With it being a membership site, homework, private Facebook group, holding you accountable, and expectations? Any questions on this part? Okay. Any questions on this part? The weekly Zoom meetings, the start date, 6 weeks, 15 members, or the cost? Okay. All right. So this is for you if you keep trying to improve in some area of your life, but you just keep quote unquote failing. And you notice I put those in quotes. Or this is for you if you feel stuck, like same old anxiety, same old depression, same old sadness. And honestly, like this program was created by 2 people. One's a PhD in pastoral studies, and the other is a licensed PhD professional clinical psychologist. And it's literally based on science. So they have used this with people that have been on medication for anxiety, depression. And I'm not claiming that if you're on medication, that you need to get off or that it will get you off. I'm not saying that, but they've used it for people that were drug addicted, alcohol, and it's currently being used in the Miami school districts for kids that are considered at risk. So that's kind of the stuck part. Or you just want more for your life. This is for you if there's an area in your life that you really want to change. So maybe you're already kind of where you want to be, but you want to do it even more. You're sick of dealing with anxiety. You find yourself constantly saying something like, I wish I could blank, but I've tried and I can't. So if you find yourself saying, that's me, that's me, that's me, then this program is for you. and I just want to end with this. Who you've been has nothing to do with who you can become. And I believe that 100% with all my being. And I hope that you also believe that, because if you do, then you know that you can change your mindset. All right. Any questions? I made it. Anybody have any questions for me? No. Either that was really bad or that was really good, because you don't have any questions.
Now, how long is the how long do you anticipate like the homework taking?
Not
Is it
long.
nightly or?
So that's a great question. So the homework is going to be, so for example, one of the first things I'm going to have you do is count your wins. And you're going to have to do that every single day. So yeah, I see that face. But like, here's the cool part about it. And this is what the people that create, my coaches that created this certification, and I can state this from a fitness side of it. So for those of you that have done the nutrition part or listen to me about nutrition, and I talk about MyFitnessPal, and I talk about how like, okay, like, you know, you'll get to the point where you've done it enough that you no longer have to use MyFitnessPal because you just know. And that's the same thing with these tools. I'm still counting my wins daily because I actually like it. I never thought I would, but I like it. And what you start doing is like during the day, I will catch myself being like, that's a win. That's a win. So it's really cool how like you start counting those like 10 wins daily. And at first it feels like I don't have any wins, or it feels stupid, or whatever it may be. But then you're going to get to the point where it's literally going to change how you see yourself to where you're constantly seeing your wins throughout the day. And I mean, like, here's my little handy dandy, because I like doing stuff on good old fashioned notebook. But I mean, you could do it in your phone where you're like, there's a win, there's a win. And you start looking for them. And now I'm at the point like where I do it every night, but I'm like, I've got more than 10 wins. And they can be as simple as, you know, like I didn't get triggered when, you know, Reese yelled at Tessa. You know, it can be as simple as that, you know, just tiny little wins where I used to do this and now I don't. One of the examples they used, and I thought this was fascinating, was one of them had a client that was like, I don't have any wins. I ate 6 donuts today. And he literally said, well, how many donuts were in the box? And he was like, 12. There's your win. You didn't eat all 12. And so it's literally doing those crazy things, that finding the wins. So that's one of them. And then probably the longest thing, like the other things are not going to, there's going to be some work. Like when we talk about goal setting, there's going to be some work doing that. But once you set them, they're set. And then there's going to be a time when we do the learn your language that I'm talking about, where I want you to become aware of what you tell yourself and how you wake up. Like, how do you feel? Like, what do you feel in the pit of your stomach? And that's going to require journaling. But like, I would say that it maybe takes me 15, 20 minutes to journal, but I've gotten to the point, but it's one of those things where I'm going to tell you when you say the journaling's taking too long, and I'm going to say, okay, Jen, give me 5 minutes. That's all I want. 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes. And so it's going to be process oriented, but it's also going to be do what you can, run your own race, and just do something, if that makes sense. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. And probably too much.
Yes. No, that was good.
Okay. But the cool part of it is, like, I actually look forward to it now. Like I look forward to the journaling, and I look forward to, and it's kind of fun, some of the activities that I'll have you do. I've said this before, but I'm probably more excited about this than I even, and you know how I feel about nutrition. But I'm more excited about this than even I was about nutrition. Because I really think that once you get this in place, everything else falls in place in your life.
Okay.
I mean, I really do.
Yeah. No, I know I need a better mindset. So.
Any other questions? All right. Well, then that is it. So what I will do is I will, when we're done, this takes a second to load, and then I will post it in the group. I'll also send it as an email, and I will put the link in the email and in the group. So if, like I said, if you're interested in doing it, go ahead and sign up. Like I said, we'll get started on December 3rd. When you sign up, if you did the nutrition challenge, it's very similar. You'll sign up. It'll take you directly to the membership site. There's a welcome video from me with, an explanation of, okay, here's your first step. Here's the link to the private Facebook group. And you'll also get an email, kind of like you did from the nutrition challenge, that also said, here's this link, here's that link, here's what you need to do. And then after you do that, there won't be anything major for you to do until closer to December 3rd. And even then, it's going to be, if you want like writing materials, if you want to be able to write, I'm sending, there's an outline here and here, get them printed off before the meeting. And then the meeting will occur, and then I will record it. I'll put it I'll put the Zoom recording in the thing, and your homework will then be given to you there. So everything's going to be like a lesson, like we just did, with an assignment. And then the assignment will be, I'll ask you to do put the assignment in the Facebook group.
Tracy,
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because I think for me it's slightly different, and I'm like, I wonder if I can, like, my head is there.
Yeah.
So I was very athletic. I was in very good shape. So for me, it has been health issues, right? So I hit like rock bottom, lost all my muscle mass. I have to, like, the only way I can move is if I go like, and I get iron infused and B12 infused. So my head is telling me I need to do this. Like, if I do it, I'll get some strength. But my body is not responding. I still feel extremely weak. Like I feel like if I go and try to exercise, I'm gonna pass out, but I won't. I know I won't, but my body tells me like I don't have the strength.
Right.
So is that something that you can help me with? Maybe I don't know. I
I mean,
looking for an answer.
right. And I guess my question to you is, has your doctor told you that what you can and can't do?
Yes. So my doctor tells me, start to see if we can recover some of the muscle mass.
Yes.
So in the last 2 years, I've developed 3 autoimmune disorders. So for me, it's like the only way to fight this is through exercise, because that's how I always did it.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, I need to do this. And I don't know. I just feel like I don't even have grip, but I'm wondering if
Right.
there's something I can do where I feel like I need to start, and I wouldn't want to slow anybody down.
Right. Right. And here's the thing, this course is not, I mean, we're going to relate it to fitness and
Mhm.
health, but really it's more mindset. If you feel like, like you're stuck, or you tell
Yeah.
yourself, you're living in anxiety or fear, or you're overthinking,
Yeah.
or, you tell yourself, I'm always this, and now I'm, so that's
Yeah.
kind of where this is going. So if you don't feel like you're stuck, in your mindset, or you don't feel like, do you feel like you've tried and failed? Because if you feel like you tried and failed, then yes, this is for you.
Yeah, no, I recently got the green light, and I just got the iron infusion. So I haven't really tried. I keep thinking maybe if I go to the gym, I'm probably gonna pass out, and that's okay.
Right. Right.
Even if I have to do 10 minutes. So yeah, and maybe you're right, but maybe it's something that I can send you a private message and see
Yes.
what options are there
Yes.
for me.
Yeah, that's not a
So-
problem at all.
Okay.
Yeah, send me a private message.
Leave it open.
Any other questions?
Does it help with mindset? Like I'm thinking, my mindset is always, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time to commit. That would be my
Yes,
issue.
yes.
So does it help with that, making me take the time?
Yes, I think it does because I'm a lot like you. And that's like the fear of lack. Like some people have the fear that they lack money. And if you think about it, time is a resource too. And I'm the same way. And I think that's why, Allison, do you feel like you're anxious a lot?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And I honestly, like my anxiety is gone because for the longest, like, and I finally realized because from learning my language that my anxiety comes from a lot of things, but it was coming from, I was waking up in anxiety because I had this fear of like, there's no time. Like, I don't have
Right.
time. It's time. It's time. It's time. I'm lacking time. I can't do everything. Well, when you really pull all that back, it's like, I do have enough time. I do have enough time. And maybe that's from this feeling of I have to be perfect and I have to do it this way. And if I can't do it right, I don't do it at all. So that's where mine was coming from, is feeling like, and so maybe it's becoming more focused on, okay, well, where do you see your life? Where do you want your life to be? And then reorganizing your time and also reorganizing how you feel about time. Because I don't know why, but like doing this, I was able to be like, oh my gosh, it's literally my anxiety is coming from, I don't think I have enough time. And if I don't have enough time, I'm not going to get something done. And if I don't get something done, I'm going to disappoint somebody. And if I disappoint somebody, they're not going to like me anymore. And it goes back to my worth.
That's exactly what I feel.
Yeah.
I get anxious because I don't have time.
Right.
But
Right. And
okay,
so,
you worded that perfectly. That's exactly how I feel.
yeah. And that's where I went with this whole thing. And literally, I don't wake up and I mean, like I can read you my, like I quit saying it
Really
because I
hard.
was saying it so much, but I like 10 on November 11th, woke up feeling peaceful. I mean, the 19th, slept well, woke up not overthinking. I mean, like I literally, my journal, like daylight savings, slept in, didn't feel anxious or overthinking. Like it was like, I'm not overthinking anymore. Whereas if I start at the beginning, woke up a little bit anxious, disappointed, anxious because I had things to do. This was at the very beginning, the second day. I know they'll get done. Maybe it's sadness that I have to get them done before kids, and that takes away from my free time. Like I literally was always time. And all of a sudden it's not there anymore.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. So,
And it does go with, like you say, with the fitness, because I'm like, I want to do my fitness pal, but I don't have time.
right. Yeah. And that's okay. And so maybe it's like, you know what? Not doing my fitness pal is not going to kill me,
Mhm.
And so it kind of like just brings everything, and one of the things we'll do is you'll pick one or two areas that you want to work on, and for me, it was business and my relationships with mostly my kids, but like kind of with myself too. Because I didn't have really a good relationship. Like I was like, I just want to feel peace. And I just didn't feel peace.
Okay.
So hope that helped.
It did.
Good.
Thanks.
Any other questions? And so like, I'll just finish by saying like, those things that I said, this is for you if, and it's also like, I'm asking that like, if like 15 spots, that's not a lot. So my whole thing is if you do choose to join, I really want you to participate, be vulnerable, obviously trust me. And I take that trust, like I take that very, very seriously. But like the members are going to be just as important as I am, because if y'all aren't willing to go there, then nobody benefits. And if we're all willing to go there and be vulnerable and be real and kind of just step out of our comfort zones, it'll be amazing. I mean, and we'll all leave with 15 close friends. So
Sounds good.
yeah, that's my 2
Oh.
cents. Or my 45 minutes of sense. All right,
That's exciting.
good. So if anybody doesn't
Thank
have
you.
any questions, then I will end the call and I will put the recording in an email and in the Facebook with the link. And like I said, if anybody has any questions, feel free to private message me. I'm going to be very brave and say I'm not going to probably message you back today because it's family time. And normally I'd be like messaging people back and then being anxious that I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing that. So I will get back to you by tomorrow.
Good for you.
So thank you, everybody, for being on here. I appreciate y'all's time and I appreciate your interest in staying on the call. So,
Thank you.
all right. And I'll talk to y'all soon.
Okay,
All right.
bye.
Bye.